Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and welcome to part 6, yes, part 6 of Manufacturing Mondays, where we're hopefully going to top out our wonderful GBC factory build. Right, so as usual, last time you gave me loads of wonderful comments and a few wonderful suggestions for improvements that I've reflected in the build, some of them very small, some of them more significant. The first one is just turning this pipe very, very small, 180 degrees, so it's actually facing towards the cutoff, and it actually is cut off itself, so it actually makes a lot of sense there, being the other way around, so thanks very much for that one. I've decided to give this operative a great big net because she must be fishing out balls, perhaps from the Plinko board, to maybe weigh them or do some other sort of mechanism before she decides whether they go in the skip in there or something. So very much like that, adds a bit more humour to the build. There were a few comments about the rat. So I've put a rat trap, which was one of the comments, turned the rat and put him a bit more tucked under, which was another one, and I've decided to give him a bit of a sandwich that maybe he stole from the packed lunchbox of this worker up here. So that's all very good detail, and I've just added a chain because, well, I fancied adding one. So thanks for all of those as well. Take Robin off before he falls off. Then another one is round the side, and that is basically down, oh golly, we can't see it at all. That is right down, there. Can you see that? Well, we've got a 1x2x2 brick with a printed graffiti bit on it, and that's actually an official brick from Lego. Let's see if I can turn it, you can see it a bit better, so you can see it obliquely there. I've got a very high angle on the camera. And that's from 31081, Modular Skate House. And the reason that's such a late edition, because I had to order one from a bricklink seller, and that means I've actually had to go into that package just to rescue this one piece. The rest I'll save for a brick haul. But nonetheless, that's a good addition, sort of low down where a bit of graffiti might be, and just a bit of interest on what is a rather large patch of dark red. So I like that a lot. So that doesn't need a bedoing because that was my one. Up here, we've got a couple of really good suggestions. Now, there are loads of ideas for how to basically smooth out my nice balcony area, and I've tried a few of them, but this one was definitely the best. It just has a couple of 1x1 round plates in the same colours as the studs on the top, so it kind of looks like those are going all the way through the stonework there. And I just think it adds even more colour and just looks really, really brilliant. So thank you so much for that. That's definitely a great improvement. Another little one up here. It's just adding a 1x1 round tile onto the two sort of kinks of the drain pipe there. So it just caps off some of the holes a little bit. So I like that one as well. Thank you. Now, the biggest one, which I'll just save for a moment before I show you, was the advert on the side. If you remember, we had this sort of tiny little wheel just sort of turning just to and fro, kind of like that, because it was connected to the seesaw that's just through this arch here. And it's a very delicate mechanism in that it just takes a very light one of these balls to actually make it move each time, and this thing weighs practically nothing, so it's a very sensitive little mechanism that would just tick a little bit. And rather than have just this sort of boring wheel on the side, I was open to other ideas, and boy did I get lots of different ideas from all of you. And I have been spending quite a disproportionate amount of time focused on this one small area to try and get this absolutely perfect. So I'll run through a few of the ideas that I had. One was just have a small advert, like this Bob Fizz soft drinks one, and kind of have it attached like that with a Technic brick there, so it could move in its entirety. And that kind of worked, but it kind of looked a bit, well, odd to be honest, having a whole little billboard moving like that. Then I thought I could do a bigger version, maybe using these toy stickers that I've got left over from the donut opening set from the other year, which is 60233, because I didn't make that store into a toy store when I did it, so I kept these stickers back. So I could have had two of those, basically doing the same as this, but double-sided. Not double-sided, double the size, get it right. Then some people thought it'd be great to have an actual ball turning. But I tried that using this hemisphere piece, which is much like the sort of golf ball that I did last time on my subscriber suggestions, but smooth. And the problem with that is that when it turns from side to side, you can see it looks identical. You wouldn't even notice that ticking. So that's not a very good idea, as it turned out. Then there was this one, which was to have kind of a clock face that was static, and then maybe a Technic piece that was kind of just sort of ticking underneath and moving. Now, it wouldn't be that regular because the balls sort of come out in fits and spurts, but it might be quite a good effect. But it really didn't look very good from the side, and it kind of looked a bit out of place, really, putting such a big and ornate clock on the side of a factory. So I didn't do that one either. Then I decided to use this fantastic sign, which is part of the Tuning Workshop set 60258. I never bought that set, but I did buy the sticker sheet, so I was able to sort of cobble together the exact same sign. Well, virtually, I've tiled the top and stuff. And then I could have this big wheel just sort of turning very slightly as it ticked, just like this. And I've got to say, it looked great, but the tire's too heavy. And it's not just the friction of the rubber on the backdrop there. If you put something in between it, like a nice washer to make it nice and disconnected, it still was just plain too heavy for one of those tiny balls to tip. So although this looked absolutely great, it just won't work. And reliability is my primary concern. So what I did was took inspiration from this and used other stickers from the exact same set to do my final solution, which is an advert for used cars. So these are the two stickers from that same Tuning Workshop set, 60258, and they're obviously the used car seller who's got the caravan and the small smart car for sale. And I've made those into a double width billboard. It doesn't quite fill all of this space, but of course it has to be centered on this because this is the bit that will tick. So it's a very sort of subtle piece of movement, but at least it's the right weight that it's absolutely reliable and will do that when all the balls are firing through the mechanism. So I think that is the best solution. And those ones were, or rather that percentage was actually from here, from the sticker sheets that are still, I think, available. I think they might be retiring, so get in soon, maybe use my link. And I think it's actually quite a good fit because it's almost like he's throwing the percentage sign, which is part of the hot offer that's available. So yeah, I think that looks good. And I'm not going to have a used car seller, so it's a good place to use it. And the orange is a nice contrast to the rest of the build. So hopefully you agree that that is the best of all the solutions. And now we can get on with today's build, which is going to be even harder to film than usual because it's going to start here and only get higher. Alright, so I've got things started by adding a plate layer in dark bluish grey as per usual and one brick layer just to give me a bit of guidance. And I've done something a bit different in the middle with a 1x2 Technic brick to support a tile diagonally. And that's because buildings like this often have kind of the year they were built or refurbished or established or something like that on them. And I actually have a very appropriate sticker from this sticker sheet, being the Spider-Man Bridge Battle 76057 from 2016. And it's probably quite obviously this diagonal one here. It's very subtle, but it does say 1962. Now, I would have thought this building would have been made more like in 1862 or maybe 1902 or something like that, being this style. But I think I'm still willing to use it to represent the date that maybe this was refurbished into GBC when something like this balcony was added or something like that. And it's so subtle that basically it will add a bit of detail without being too, up front and too much. So I think I'll do that in a minute. And then the kind of thing that I'm trying to get going on the very top floor is to not have it go all the way to the very back, because I don't want to cast the entire floor below with all of these wonderful scenes in really dark shadow. So we need the conveyor belt to link this hole here with this area here. So I think I'll make that the production line with this very sort of thin gantry that's accessed by this ladder for the people. And then I have this whole half of the top floor completely open to allow light to come from the top all the way through the floors, because this area is dark enough without making anything else too dark as well. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do with this. So with that in mind, I'm going to add the beginnings of the machine, because I think the bit that we're going to have to do first is build the machine and all of the workings, and then we can very easily build the outside wall afterwards. So this is yellow bricks, obviously, that are going to represent the side of the great big Bertha machine that's sitting on the top. So I think this will be the end of the bright red section. And indeed, I've got the other half here, and this is actually going to go all the way across to the other side, and it will be a bit flimsy at first, but it will get stronger and stronger as I add more stuff in there. It's quite hard to do this with the camera in front of your face, but nonetheless. So that is quite wobbly at the moment, but will get better. Now, this pair of axle holes is the pair that holds the axle that turns and brings the balls up. And before I bring anything else into it that's more complicated, I really want to get that mechanism done. So that's the most important thing. So what I'm going to do is kind of pull off, with a bit of difficulty, my side bits here that kind of cover that chimney breast bit. And then hopefully I've got enough access, though probably not, because I can only just get my finger in, to connect the chain all the way to the bottom, because there's already a gear right at the bottom. And this is probably going to be the end of the road as a result for the mechanical mock-up, because now I'm going to have to steal all of this stuff, all of these gears, all of this conveyor belt, the four arms, even all of this sort of engine sort of esque detailing that I had on the top, because they're all going to be reused, and all this stuff, in the final version. So bye-bye mock-up. This is demolition day for you, but you will live on in the new one. Okay, so that's on there. Looking very subtle, but a little bit different. Front and centre. And then I've got the yellow 7 long axle in there, just so it sort of blends in a little bit more. And I've managed to do this relatively easily, actually, having taken off this entire bit. That wasn't part of the design process, but it's turned out really useful to add the chain. Also, this door down here that we added, it has been really useful to disconnect the motor while I was doing that, just to make the gears free moving and to put it back on. So it's all quite manageable at the moment. So let's give it its very first bit of power, which should turn this wheel that will bring all of the balls up. And there we go. Very smooth indeed. So that is working fantastically well. I don't really mind the different coloured pieces of chain, just because we aren't going to be able to see those really at all. So I think the next stage is to build the rest of this machine, as I said, which will kind of be the Bertha bit where all of the balls are born. And then we'll have to build along here the horizontal conveyor, continuing that sort of yellow colour all the way along. So I think that'll look really good. Okay, so we've got the mechanism that goes like that, and I've just added a row of bricks and Technic bricks that are going to take all of the combination of axles that are going to drive all this stuff. And you'll see I've got a slope here just at the end, just so the balls, when they hit that, will go this direction first before hitting a second slope just behind here to go back into the middle. And if we had a slope on both sides at the same height, they might get two balls sort of wedged in, blocking the mechanism. So by doing it kind of like that, it should prevent that, and that worked very well on the trial run. So putting in the extra mechanism, we've just got a couple of free gears here, and those ones are different colours each time, just to vary it up a bit, which was an old suggestion, but I think they've already had a bedoying for that one. And then we need to put in this, so I'm going to have to kind of squeeze this in. I might have to take that off as well, just to get that in. So that's going to be the first cog or gear of the horizontal conveyor. There we go. And again, I've used a nice yellow 7 long axle there to go in with the yellow machine. And then when we turn into red, I'm actually just going to go back to full grey. So that goes there. And that's the middle one, which drives another mechanism here that can have one of these beveled gears on, which will drive all of the robot arms. Because remember, we're going to have those motorized robot arms. And then this one can go in here to hold the far end of the conveyor belt. There we go. And then we just need to link the two mechanisms together with one of these. And there we go. I think that's going to work. So let's give that a quick test. Yep, so they're all binding well. Remember, we have got that optical illusion that will probably make it look like the conveyor's running backwards. So here is my conveyor that I've stolen from the other one, and I probably won't do that on camera just because that's going to look, well, be a bit hard to do. So I'll leave that off, but I will start adding this, the side mechanism that is going to control all of those robot arms, and that goes in there. See if I can do that. There we go. Yep. And that's so when this is moving, it will turn the beveled gear that's missing at the moment, which will turn this. And you see they're all offset by 90 degrees, so they'll hit the hammers in a bit of a random order, so they move all of the robot arms in an interesting way. And in this one, I'll probably just put a decorative gear on the outside, just so it looks more mechanical and whirry. So I think that'll be really good. So I'm going to finish off all of that off camera. And I'm also planning to do something really interesting with these wheels, because I've got some good stickers here, these spiral ones, and I've got 2 sheets. So I've got 4 of them, and they're from the Shellraiser Street Chase set, which is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set from 2013, 79104. And I thought if I put them onto 2x2 round tiles and attached those tiles using those half Technic pin pieces to these 4 gears here, then we might get some really sort of pleasing spiral action, which might sort of add to the sort of jaunty nature of this factory. So I'm not sure how that's going to look, but I think it's well worth a try. If you think we've got sort of 4 of those spinning around. And then when the bevel's in there, it'll all be linked, and it should all work. In fact, we could even test it. Oh no, we need to have a bit more mechanism on here. Lots to do. And there we are with everything on. We've got the belt on there, the useless gear on the end that is, well, just adding a bit of interest. Our cams here to drive the robot arms. And I think these stickers look really quite fun, actually. So if you see them with the motor on, obviously they spin and they look quite good. So I think I'm happy with that. Adds a bit of interest, as I said. Right, so now I need to continue the mechanism with all of these robot arms. So basically what I've got for that is some plates that kind of join both the 2 sides together that passes through the actual belt. And then we've got some bits that stick out that are going to hold onto the actual arms themselves. And another one here. And then I can put on the sides of the conveyor belt, which again need to kind of tuck in, so it might be a bit difficult to do with a camera right in front of my face, but we shall see if it is possible. Bit tricky, bit fiddly. Probably do the other side afterwards. There we go. Is that strong? Always have visions of destroying everything in a spectacular fashion live on camera, but that hasn't happened again, so that's good. Then I need this sort of setup there. Then I need this sort of setup here. And that is where my robot arms will join into. And hopefully they won't interfere with the progress of the actual balls themselves. Then I'll add kind of a steering wheel bit there just to add a bit of interest. So there we go, there's one set. So the camera should hit these and sort of flip them, but not too far. That's how it's supposed to work in theory. So the second set go there. And I might need to realign these cams a little bit just so they're not going to spoil on anything they shouldn't. So I think that should work. Let's, we'll maybe move that one along a bit. And that one along a bit to there. Okay, let's give that a test run. It probably won't work. No, it's stuck. Oh, I tell you why. It's because I've probably put that in the wrong way around. I think I'm turning them that way rather than that way. Oh, how annoying. Yes, so that was the problem. I did have this bevel gear on the left-hand side, which meant the axle was turning in completely the wrong direction, and it should have been on the right-hand side. So easily done. But that's enabled me to put in this other side, and this has got the lovely hazard stripe that I didn't want to use on the ground floor because it would be up here, and hopefully that's visible through the window. And this is kind of the gantry where the men or women will be working on this floor, so that hazard stripe is to sort of remind them to keep their hands clear, I think. So if I can reach round for this switch, then we should be able to test these arms from this perspective. There we go. Wow, that is fantastic. So I've got them all on the different four quarters of the axle there, so they go one at a time in kind of a random sequence. I mean, it isn't random, obviously it's repeating, but it's not all in a row, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4. What is it? It's 1, 4, 3, 2 or something. I don't know. It's really hard to see with it going that quickly. But I think that looks really good fun, doesn't it? Wow. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, let's see if we can shut that off. Then I need to build the rest of the sort of big Bertha machine. And over here, I thought I'd have a great big control panel with loads of dials on and all the rest, because you can probably see here we're going to have a window. So I thought that would be visible through the window if I put it there, right at the top of the ladder. So it is a massive squeeze to get in there. And then I need to put this bit in, which I'm just going to stand up even to get in the right place. I think it's, where is it? Just going to have a look. Yeah, it's there. So this is where the balls will get fired out of, and that's that tile that they're going to sort of come up and spit over onto this conveyor belt. And then I need to have two windows so we can actually see those balls being produced, being born. There we go. And then we've got two of these setups, which have got the very important pin that just sticks out a little bit. And that's what kind of knocks the ball off the little hooks that go around on the belt and fire them into the rest of the mechanism down here. So put that one there and that one there. And then maybe you can see what I mean if I sort of show it like that. They kind of come up, hit the underside of that, and the only place to go is that way. So there we go. And then I can put this on to sort of enclose that machine. Right, so I need to add loads of pipes and all sorts of other bits of decoration, but that is essentially the machine. So hopefully I haven't obstructed anything. No, that's still working rather well. Oh, I think we could almost test this with balls. Should I do the decor next or add some ginormous balls? Okay, so I thought it was a bit of a shame to give this its inaugural run with ginormous balls if it wasn't quite complete. It wouldn't really be fair, I don't think, to the machine. So I think I'll finish it off. So I've got a setup here with some nice tiles on the top so it's nice and smooth, and loads of great big sort of exhaust type pipes. And that's to fit over that extreme. You can see I've put the back wall in. There's nothing really that spectacular about that compared with other floors. It's just the same. I've got another one of these big window setups on that side and a continuation of that chimney breast type bit. So that's all of those pipes in there. I've got another one sort of in this type of format which I can have tucked in here just to fill every bit of surface. So I can have that right there vertically. Then I've got another setup with some sort of curved slopes as well, so that can fit over this section and also look quite attractive. And you can see I've already put on the sort of face of the machine, if you will, which is one of these really old grills. In fact, it's in the old dark grey, but I think that looks really good, kind of a bit retro. And then we can add this monstrosity, which is sort of what I started with on the original one, which is just loads and loads of exhaust pipes and a couple of these sort of blowers type air intake things. And I can put that on there just so it looks like it's absolutely covered in pipes. Right, so as if that wasn't complete, I want to do a little link up with this sort of setup and the wall. And what I'm going to do is use a couple of headlight bricks built into the wall and have some pipes on the back of them. So that's sort of like the extraction of foul gases or exhaust fumes or something like that. So that will go in like that. And then I'll have some of these sort of macaroni tube pieces and steering wheel pieces and all sorts of other bits to kind of link this machine up with that side wall. So I've got two of those, so I've got a pair of them. It's a bit hard to sort of do and show you at the same time, but let's see if we can get all that in. And that'll actually give everything a bit of strength as well. I've got that the wrong way around, that's why it's not working. That should be like that. There we go. That's got the spacing absolutely perfect. So yeah, there should be a lot of strength now in the fact that the machine is kind of attached to the wall. And we've got those lovely pipes. I'll see if I can show it from the other side. Linking right from the machine up through the wall to the outside where we can be expelling some exhaust gases. So I think that looks really good. And now we can probably do the full demo. So should we do it from this side so we can see the balls coming out of there first? Or no, we really need to show the back, don't we? So let me adjust everything. I think that's about right. I think we can see the whole mechanism. So inaugural run, here we go. I think I need to put my hand here in case I get fired off the back because they do come out quite fiercely on occasion. But there it is working. Wow. So we've got the yellow conveyor belt, the hole where my hand will be replaced with a wall. We've got the seesaw, also in yellow underneath. Then we've got the green ramp with the fans, which I might need to recolour. The blue ramp with the flag pieces. Got a bit of a congestion going on. That hasn't happened before. Let's stop it. It's all going a bit wrong. I think that's because the advert is a little bit more stiff than it used to be. That seems to be going uphill. Let's try it again. Might need a bit more fettling. This was always a potential issue that when you rebuild it and it's all just slightly different, it might work in a slightly different way. Let's try it again. And then it gets recombined at what I call the mixing table, where it goes down some of the tubes, which we really can't see, onto the plinko board, into the basketball hoop, and finishes in the truck where all the balls are collected. And that's where they all stay, because they definitely don't continue back into a lift and go all the way to the top, because that would break the illusion. But I'm going to turn that off now just for noise. I think it's working. We had one snare up there, but I think it was because one of these tiles was going slightly uphill. So when I fixed that, we didn't have a repeat issue. So hopefully the advert's not going to slow down the seesaw too much. It definitely is a bit more resistance there. Let's have another quick look from the front and show you the balcony in full action. Can I reach around the back here? Yeah, I can. So I'll probably need my hand again. There we go. Oh, hey! So every other ball, so it should be a blue one, another blue one, and then a white one. Hey! I think that is one of the best bits, and that's one of the bits we'll see from everywhere in Brick Nottingham that will show that there really is some motion going on inside this building, apart from everything else that you'll be able to see through the windows, of course. Oh, brilliant. That is working so well. So, onto the walls, I guess, next, to try and enclose this entire floor. Now, before we enclose absolutely everything, I want to add a few more details, including this sticker here with the sort of up and down arrow and these lovely hazard stripes. And that's another one from this sticker sheet from the Stigmalock Breakouts 75927. We used the tread plates earlier for that one, so I think that's looking good. And when I put this gear back, it'll kind of be partially concealed. Yeah, I like the look of that. And then you can see that I've added 2 production workers, and they're red helmeted ones. And this guy's got an oil can, so we can keep the machine well lubricated, presumably. And then we've got a female employee here as well, who's got a great big spanner for keeping everything tight, presumably. So got those tucked away there so we can see them in between each pair of the robot arms. Maybe need to move that slightly out of her face. There we go. That will work. Then we can add all the rest of the walls. So on this side, next to our lovely used car advert, we can add window, column, window, column. And this wall will obviously act as my hand when I was doing that earlier, just to keep all of the really enthusiastic balls in. So they'll just bounce off that and it will still go down the hole. So that's that good. And then we've got 4 sets of windows for the front, as well as these 2 on that side and the 1 on that side. So this will be a very light floor. And I think that's really good because we want a lot of light getting in so it's not too dingy. And you can see all of the controls and the pipes through that one. And I think through the rest, you should be able to see all of the coloured balls, of course, as well, our ginormous balls. So then I need to add more drain pipe setups. You can see I started those just because they're quite fiddly when they've got the strengthening bars in them. And a second one on this side, over here. There we go. And that has just been capped off at the very top with just a 1x1 round plate with the hole in it. And that's the end of those drain pipes. So they're presumably fed through some sort of system from the roof, which we'll do shortly. And then we added a wonderful stone lion right here over the front door, which is a very ornate feature. But why limit ourselves to one wonderful lion when we can have another one? So I've just built another one into the central column above the date and diagonally up from that interesting area. And I've put a clock on the inside just so the employees know exactly when they're knocking off for the day and can all go down the pub instead. So I think that wants to be that way around so we can have the profile brick showing from the outside. And then that will go there. Yes, looks very sort of imperial looking. I really like that. So maybe we should have a quick test of the balls again. We can watch this percentage move and we can also hopefully see some action through the windows if I can find the switch without looking. There we go. So there's that little tick-tock that's attached to the seesaw, and you can see every other ball sort of piling through the balcony. Let's have a look. Oh, you can definitely see the robot arms moving, and you can definitely see all the balls on this level, that for sure. Less so down here, I think, and that's probably because there's less light getting in, but you can definitely see some whirring going on. And I think the whirring is arguably the best bit because it really does sound like a factory, if you ask me. Lots of whirring and chuntering going on, but I mean, it just looks fantastic. So let me try and find the switch on the back. I'm sure I'll get better at this in due course, but I really can't find it for... There we go. Very difficult to locate. But yeah, it's looking great, isn't it? I love this exhaust up here. And there it is enclosed from the other side. And there's the clock at the top middle. One of the balls on its way down. Ping, ping, all the way there. Right, so now I need to add the very top layer, which will support the roof from all sides. And it's a very simple sort of setup in that I've got another plate layer, one more brick layer, and then some plates, modified plates with this sort of rail on. And essentially they are going to tie everything together and give it a bit of strength. And this little gap here is deliberate because that's going to be where the roof is held on. So if we do that at both sides, first of all, and I'm really hoping that nothing disastrous happens while it's still not brilliantly strong while I'm actually filming. I think that has worked though. Good, good. And then right in the middle, I want a little bit more detail over where the lion's head is. So it's just got a little bit that's kind of sticking out. Now this is going to be even harder to attach, presumably. Like that. Be very careful. And that incorporates the tops of the drain pipes with those wonderful rounded modified plates with everything else. And then we've got kind of a wedge plate at the very, very top here, being this sort of 6 by, well, 4 with kind of the corners chopped off, which just gives it a bit more detail. And I think you'll agree that that is looking rather fantastic as a front vista. And it's a pretty big building. I mean, I don't know, that's about 18 inches tall, I'd say. It's pretty big. So 45 centimeters for those of you who don't work in inches. But yeah, that's looking good. So all that's left now is the roof on the top. And of course, our wonderful sign on the front. Right, now this really is getting too tall to film, so I'm going to do the roof apart from the building and then attach it and show you the end product on shaky handheld. But there it is, a very robust structure, hopefully, that's going to hold lots and lots of glass windscreen pieces, or slopes, I think they're down as in the Bricklink catalogue. And I've been accumulating these for quite a while, and I've got far too many, as it turns out, but that's good because I'll be able to use them for another project. But essentially, I thought I'd have a very sort of sawtooth kind of sloping roof, like a lot of old factories have. And although this isn't really true to the ones in real life Nottingham, perhaps, I think it's important because it lets in a lot of light. And I think that is going to be our friend in seeing this and showing it off to its very best, because having it all in shadow just isn't a good thing at all. And not only that, but it'll actually give us a lot better view, because we'll actually be able to view it from directly above and see that conveyor belt running along with all the balls and so on a lot better as well. So I think it has a double benefit then. And then I'm going to add just some of these printed round tiles with the sort of vents on that you often get on trains. I've got 4 of those as well. So I'll finish that in a minute with some of these, and I'll still have a load left for another build. So then the sign that will go on the front and centre. Let me just wheel up a little bit to there. And then I will show you my brick built sign. So I wanted it to be matching the colours of the balls that I've been using all this time. So I decided to go for really big chunky 3D letters to say GBC, because I wanted this to be very colourful, but also really, really visible from a great distance away. So what I'm going to do is actually just attach that there like that. And I think that is securely on. Just check it's on all 4 of those studs. And I think it is. So there we go. There is our massive GBC sign. Now, it has occurred to me since I did this that I could actually buy tiles in all of the 3 colours to actually take away all of these studs. So one of the things I'll be interested in hearing from you is whether you think it looks better kind of with raw industrial looking studs that kind of look like, I don't know, rivets or something like that, or whether you think it'd be better, smoother. And then before we submit this to Lego Ideas, I'll have ordered those and have them in place. But it also ties in very well with the colours on the balcony, which is just out of shot at the moment, and of course this logo on the van as well. So I very much like that. Right, I'm going to complete the roof, get that on, and then we can do a bit of a shaky handheld view of everything in action. Now, usually it's a bit of a worry when you've got this many pieces left over, because it shows that something has gone very badly wrong. And I suppose it has, but largely with the ordering. I think I ordered too many parts for this thing. When I calculated how many I needed of everything, I obviously didn't check some off when I made an order. So I've got an absolute load left, but not to worry. And another quick bit of housekeeping is about the balls, the ginormous balls, in that you probably can't tell the difference between the balls I'm actually using, which are third party, they're on the right, and the official Lego ball, which is on the left. So the Lego balls will work in there and are actually available in 3 of the 4 colours I'm using. We're just missing the yellow one because they do make red, blue and white. So it'd only need for Lego to basically recolour one ball for us to be absolutely fine, and I think that's all right as part of a Lego Ideas submission. So here we are with our wonderfully tall building, and there is the roof. I think that is looking rather fantastic. Might need a bit of a polish on a couple of those, but it's really good. and you really can see inside there. I think you'll agree. So that's looking good. And it really ties in with that really tall building. Look at that. Pretty good, I think you'll agree. So there we go. Wonderful GBC sign with rivets on at the moment. And the tall drain pipes, the second lion, that wonderful balcony. Really glad we got that fix sorted. Our new advert on this side with the moving percentage sign. And the van, of course, sticking out the front. The sticker on each floor and the graffiti on the ground floor there. I think that's looking really good as well on this side. All the way up with the exhaust at the very top. Right, so let's turn this around and set it going. Oh, yeah, and also our established tile. And there's the roof from the back, tied into the walls on all three sides, and letting in a lot of light to our mechanism at the top, which we can see ploughing away with those 4 robotic arms, and we can see the happy faces of the workers in between them. I like that very much. And I really like these whirly wheels actually. I think they look fantastic. And there's all that mechanism that we did today as well, with the action of making those robot arms work. That was quite complicated, but one of the many improvements that you've encouraged me to add by putting even more work into this build. And then we've got the wonderful scenes that we've had from previous parts, with the checklist on this floor, the hungry rat, the lady with the net, which I very much like now, and the Plinko board, the boss there in the control room, and obviously all the power functions bit, and the van with the wonderful GBC logo on the side, which we probably can barely see, and the staff room there with the coffee machine and all the ball products that are being made. Wow! This has been a tremendous build, but I think you'll agree that the outcome is absolutely fantastic. It's a really fun and colourful build. It makes you really want to peer inside and see what's going on. And there's lots of motion. A couple of teething problems today, but I think we've got through them all. It seems to be running very reliably now. This is exactly when it would snare up, wouldn't it, with Sod's Law, but there we go. Yeah, it's all right. Very happy with that. I very much like the yellow machine. It's a pity we can't see so much of the details with the roof on around here with all of the exhaust pipes and all of that gubbins, but it is there if you want to look for it with that link to the outside. Now, I do hope you agree that this has been a very successful Manufacturing Monday series with the building of our GBC factory. I do think there's probably one more episode to come where we can go through some of the design process, because I know a lot of you are very interested in that. And we can also place it in Brick Nottingham and do these sort of street furniture outside on the street side of things. But I think it's been really successful. I think you'll agree. I definitely think you guys have really made this better by adding things like this wonderful idea here and encouraging me to do amendments to this and even getting the actual robot arms moving. That was a really good suggestion of yours. And together, I think we'll be able to submit this to LEGO Ideas in the new year once all of the amendments that you suggest from this week are in and affected. And then we can all get it 10,000 votes really quickly. And who knows, it might be made into a real life set and you can have one of your very own GBC factories running in your city or your living room or wherever you like, with this rather hypnotic sort of ticking noise going on. Hopefully it wouldn't drive you too mad. You can always just have it running for a little bit. I just think the whole action, all the way from up here where the balls are born, all the way to down here where they're collected, and they seemingly all fit forever and a day into this van, is a really pleasing thing to watch. I'll turn it off just so you can hear me speak when I say thanks very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Do give me more suggestions for amendments and improvements from today if you can think of any. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below, and that'll be greatly appreciated. Next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I think we'll be missing a brick haul on Wednesday just because we're in Christmas week in real time. So I think we'll do the Ask Robin Q&A session on Wednesday, and then we'll go without a video this Friday, given that it's actually Christmas Day 2020. And then in the new week, we'll probably do that remaining part for this series, part 7, with the design and so on, and the placement in Brick Nottingham. And then who knows what after that. So thanks very much. See you!